Hi, my name is George and I'm a systems engineer with Cisco. Today I'm going to be giving you a demonstration of the Meraki dashboard. The Meraki dashboard is the intuitive and easy to use management interface for all the Meraki cloud managed products. And we'll have a look at each one of those products. That's the wireless access points, switches, security appliances and mobile device management. So stick with me for the next 10 minutes and you'll get a good understanding of what Meraki is all about.
In the demonstration, we're going to be looking at a live production network. In this case, we're going to be looking at the Cisco Cloud Networking Group's Meraki production network running in the US and other countries. We can see the locations on the map, and we can also see those networks' availability due to the color of the icons. On the right hand side, I have further information which I can expand. I can see things such as the types of networks, as well as the network health over the last week. If I want to drill down, I can click on these icons and that will zoom in. These larger icons are aggregates of the networks in that area. So if I click this large red icon here, it will zoom in and I can zoom in again and again and again until I've gone from a global view to an individual building or device view to troubleshoot a problem. Now I can go in and have a look at the floor plan for the offices. So I'm going to do that now. And here I can now see all the access points in the office in San Francisco. I can display various metrics on this map, and at the moment I'm seeing the number of connected devices. If I hover over this access point, I can see the name, and if I click it, I go down and I see even more detail. So in just a few seconds I've gone from a global view to an individual access point in San Francisco. Here I can see its IP address, the channels it's using, the switch port it's connected to. I can also see things such as the clients they're connected, how long they've been connected for, and the amount of data they've been using. I also have a range of live tools on the left here which allow me to troubleshoot endpoint connectivity problems. Now, if we go up to the top, I can select the monitor and then clients page. Customers running Meraki networks often find it's more useful to troubleshoot from a client or application perspective due to the wealth of information that we record. This information is collected on both the access points, the switches, and the security appliances, and the more Meraki devices you have, the richer this view becomes, as all the data is aggregated into this one view. I can search this to find interesting information, so I could search for something boring such as IP address, but I could also search for iPad. And if I search for iPad, I now see all the iPads that are on the network or have been on the network in the selected time period. I can then click on that and find out further information. So this is a device called Proxy Test. It is an iPad. I can see where it was last used in the office. I can see the firewall and bandwidth rules that have been applied to this particular device, both on the wireless and the security side. And I can also see the application usage. I can see that at a very detailed level for every individual device. If I go back to the clients page, I can hover over any one of these clients and it will highlight their data usage on the top. Or I can see the application usage by hovering over the pie chart to the right. If I want to see this in further detail, I can click on the More button, and then I can drill down to these yet again. So for example, if I choose Dropbox, I can go in and see who's been using Dropbox and who the top users of Dropbox have been. I can then decide to go do something about this. Having seen the Dropbox usage, I now want to implement a firewall rule. So I'm going to implement that on the wireless access points. Now, as the access points support layer 7 application firewalling, this is particularly easy to do. I just choose add a layer 7 firewall rule, and I choose Dropbox, and for this SSID, all Dropbox traffic will be blocked. I can do this on an SSID basis, a user group basis, or an individual user basis. Now, it could be somewhat draconian to block Dropbox for everyone, and I want it to be used but just not abused. I'm going to delete my firewall rule and create a traffic shaping rule instead. In this case, I'm going to again add Dropbox, and I'm going to limit it to only 500 kilobits per second of bandwidth per device. This way, users can still have access to a Dropbox, but they're not impacting the rest of my network. One of the fantastic things about the Meraki dashboard is it can be used to manage networks end to end. You can manage wireless, wired, WAN, and devices all through the same interface. Let's go and have a look at the Meraki switches. Again, we'll be looking at the Meraki switches in the office in San Francisco. Here I have a list of switches and I want to limit this to find the one I'm after. I'm after a switch on the 5th floor, on the north side of the 5th floor. And here I've managed to limit my view from 52 switches to just 7. I now select the one I want, and we can drill down and see a level of information which is much more detailed and similar to the AP view that we saw earlier. Here we can see the switch's availability, details such as its IP address, spanning tree information, and the PoE consumption. If I go down, I can see the port list. I can see the data that's been consumed on the ports, as well as the PoE and the device that's connected. If I click on it, I can go in and see that port in even more detail. I can even run a remote packet capture. This allows me to stream a packet capture to my browser or to Wireshark. Fantastic for remote troubleshooting when you're not on site. I can see this port is consuming some power as it has an access point plugged into it. And I want to be green, so I'm going to do something about that to limit the power use when the office is closed. We're going to set a port schedule. So I'm going to go up and choose port schedule and add a new one. And now I'm going to say I want the ports that I'm using to only be active between the hours of 8 and 5 on a weekday. This means it will turn off all the devices that are connected to those ports. Let's now go and have a look at the security appliance. Again, we're going to have a look at a device which is in the head office in San Francisco. You should hopefully notice a trend of how the security appliance interface looks very similar to both the switches and the wireless access points. Here we're looking at Godzilla, which is running the office. One of the other things that Godzilla does is it has a site-to-site VPN to all the other Meraki locations. We're now going to look at that under the site-to-site VPN menu. The site-to-site VPN on the Meraki products is one of the easiest in the industry. Due to how the cloud talks to all the end devices, it can automatically set up the site-to-site connections. All you need to do is choose the type of connection you want. So we can go from no site-to-site VPN to a split tunnel or a full tunnel. All we then need to do is choose which local subnets we wish to publish into the VPN topology. By default, this creates a fully meshed connection between all your remote sites. If you wish to turn this into a hub and spoke deployment, just select that from the drop down up here. If you would like WAN optimization, you just need to scroll down and choose Enabled from the WAN optimization menu. There is nothing else that needs to be configured. This turns a multi-day task into a matter of minutes. If you wish to see how the WAN optimization is performing, we can go up and we can choose WAN optimization from the monitor menu, and this will show us what data has been optimized and how much bandwidth we have saved. Finally, it's time to go and have a look at mobile device management. I'm going to choose Systems Manager from my drop down at the top here, and we're now going to look at how we control Android devices, Apple devices, and also a few desktop devices. Going to the Clients menu on the left hand side, I can now start to see all the devices I have under management. I can now search this, as I did previously, for devices I'm interested in. Here I want to search for an iPad. I'm going to select the iPad that interests me, and then I get to see, again, more information about this iPad, but I get further controls. For example, I could erase this iPad if it's been lost or stolen, selectively wipe it if it contains sensitive information, or I can go down and see what applications have been installed. If I want to install further applications, I can go to Mobile and then Apps. Here I can create a portfolio of applications I wish to push to mobile devices. If I click Add New, I can choose from the App Store and I can search for an app that I wish to add. Here I can now choose to add the CNN app to my overall portfolio and choose which devices I want to push it to. This is just a short introduction into some of the powerful features available in Systems Manager. It includes other functions such as remote desktop control, the ability to disable or enable particular features on devices, and geofencing. If you wish to try this for yourself, Systems Manager is completely free and available from the Cisco Cloud Networking Group's Meraki website. Thank you very much for watching. That's the end of the demonstration. If you'd like to find out more, please try some of the other videos on our YouTube channel. Otherwise, visit the website meraki.cisco.com.